Welcome to English Stories Listen and Learn. In this channel, you listen to short stories and learn English naturally. This story is Easy English, Level B1. Relax and enjoy the story. She didn't stop. Introduction. Nothing was wrong, and that was exactly the problem. Lena often felt that her life was moving forward without asking how she felt. Although everything looked fine from the outside, something inside her felt quiet and heavy. She did not feel unhappy, but she also did not feel fully present in her own life. Her days were full, her routine was stable, and her home was calm. Yet the silence around her slowly changed from comfortable to uncomfortable. Part 1. A normal life. Lena lived in a small apartment close to the city center. The streets were busy during the day and almost empty at night. Every morning she woke up at the same time, made coffee, and stood near the window while the city slowly came to life below her. Her husband, Paul, usually left early because his job required long hours and a lot of attention. They kissed near the door every morning, and although the moment was kind, it felt automatic and familiar, as if it was part of the routine. At work, Lena was known as someone people could rely on. She answered emails on time, joined meetings without complaint, and completed her tasks carefully, even on days when she felt tired. Her desk was always clean, her calendar was organized, and her manager trusted her work. Still, she often felt as if she was moving through her day without thinking much about it. In the evenings, she returned home. Dinner was simple and quiet. The television stayed on, mostly for background noise, while they talked about work, small plans, and things that did not need deep thought. Later, they went to bed without arguments, without excitement, and without questions. Part 2. The Small Gap. One evening, Lena stayed late at the office, not because she had extra work, but because she did not feel ready to return home. The building felt different at night, when the lights were softer and the noise of the day had disappeared. While she was waiting at the printer, she noticed a man standing nearby. His name was Chris, and although she had seen him before in meetings or hallways, they had never spoken. They exchanged a few polite words about work and the long day, and the conversation ended quickly. However, when Lena walked out of the building later, she realized that she felt lighter than usual. Something about the moment stayed with her. That night, while she was lying in bed beside Paul, she thought about the short conversation. Even though it had meant nothing important, still, the feeling stayed longer than she expected. Part 3. More than nothing. During the following week, Lena began to see Chris more often, especially near the coffee machine or in the hallway. When he greeted her by name one morning, she felt surprised because she had not expected him to remember her. Their conversations remained short and simple, but they started to happen more often. Sometimes they talked about deadlines, sometimes about small problems at work, and sometimes they laughed quietly. Lena noticed that she enjoyed these moments, even though she did not fully understand why. She told herself that it was normal to enjoy talking to someone new. At home, Paul seemed more distant than before. He spoke less, checked his phone more often, and sometimes looked tired even after sleeping. Lena told herself that this distance was normal after years together. However, the gap between them slowly became harder to ignore. Part 4. The Line. One afternoon, dark clouds covered the sky, and heavy rain began without warning. Lena and Chris left the office at the same time and stopped near the door, listening to the rain hit the glass. Chris offered to walk with her because their cars were parked in the same direction. After a short pause, Lena agreed, although she hesitated before agreeing to walk with him. They walked slowly through the quiet street while the rain fell around them. The street was empty, and the moment felt still. When they reached the parking area, neither of them moved. They stood there for a few seconds longer than expected. Lena felt her heart beat faster because she knew this moment was different from before. She knew there was a line, even though no one spoke about it. She could have stepped back. She did not. Part 5. The Choice. Nothing clear or dramatic happened that day, but something changed quietly inside her. After that moment, messages became longer, replies came faster, and looks lasted longer than before. Their messages were no longer only about work. They were short and careful, but they made Lena feel seen in a way she no longer felt at home. Lena felt more awake than usual, although the feeling was often followed by guilt. She told herself that she was still in control and that nothing serious had happened. At home, when Paul asked if she was okay, she answered too quickly, hoping the question would end there. She avoided his eyes and changed the subject. Each choice felt small on its own. Together, they began to feel heavier than she expected. Part 6. The Wait. As time passed, Lena started to lose focus at work, even though she tried to hide it. She forgot meetings, read the same messages twice, and sometimes stared at her screen without thinking. At night, she woke up early and lay still, listening to Paul breathe beside her. She noticed that she was no longer fully present with Paul, even when they were sitting in the same room. The silence in the room no longer felt calm. It felt uncomfortable and heavy. Paul noticed that something had changed and began to ask more questions. Although Lena wanted to explain, she found it easier to stay quiet because the truth felt too hard to explain. Part 7. The truth comes close. One afternoon, Paul returned home earlier than usual, while Lena was talking on the phone near the window. She ended the call too quickly, and her hands shook slightly as she turned around. When Paul asked who it was, she said it was a friend from work. As soon as she spoke, the words felt wrong. That night, while Lena was in the shower, Paul checked her phone because he already felt unsure. The messages were enough to explain everything. Later, when Lena entered the room and saw his face, she knew immediately what he had seen. Nothing needed to be said. Part 8. The moment. The next morning, the apartment felt smaller and colder than before. Paul asked calmly if there was something she wanted to tell him. His voice sounded distant. Lena felt scared and unsure about what to do. She could still lie and try to keep things together, but she was tired of holding everything inside. She said yes. She did not explain every detail because she did not need to. Paul listened quietly. Then he stood up and said he needed time. The door closed softly behind him. The sound stayed in the room after he was gone. Part 9. After. Days passed, and Lena stayed alone in the apartment. The silence was clear now, and it made her think about the moments that had brought her there. She remembered the first smile, the first walk in the rain, and the first lie. At the time, none of them felt important. She understood that the distance did not begin with one big mistake. It began with many small moments she chose not to stop. She did not know what would happen next, or if Paul would return. She only knew one thing. It was not about love or hate. It was about small moments, and the choices she made without noticing how much they mattered. Some choices speak quietly, but they echo for a long time. The end. Before we continue, if this story helped you practice English, subscribe to English Stories Listen and Learn. Real stories, natural English. Now let's review the B1 vocabulary from this story. Listen carefully. First, you will hear the word, then the meaning, and finally, an example sentence. Routine. Routine means the same things you do every day. Example: her routine never changed. Calm. Calm means quiet and without stress. Example: her home felt calm at first. Silence. Silence means no sound or no talking. Example: the silence in the room felt heavy. Familiar. Familiar means known and usual. Example: the kiss felt familiar and automatic. Rely on. Rely on means to trust someone. Example: people at work could rely on her. Focus. Focus means to give attention to something. Example: she started to lose focus at work. Distant. Distant means not close emotionally. Example: Paul seemed more distant than before. Gap. Gap means a space or distance between people. Example: the gap between them grew slowly. Hesitate. Hesitate means to stop before doing something. Example: she hesitated before agreeing to walk with him. Moment. Moment means a short time. Example: that moment changed something quietly. Choice. Choice means a decision you make. Example, each choice felt small on its own. Guilt. Guilt means a bad feeling after doing something wrong. Example, the feeling was followed by guilt. Avoid. Avoid means to stay away from something. Example, she avoided his eyes. Uncomfortable. Uncomfortable means not feeling relaxed. Example, the silence felt uncomfortable. Explain. Explain means to make something clear. Example, the truth felt too hard to explain. Doubt. Doubt means feeling unsure. Example, doubt grew inside him. Notice. Notice means to see or feel something. Example, Paul noticed that something had changed. Present. Present means fully there and paying attention. Example, she was no longer fully present with Paul. Distance. Distance means emotional space between people. Example, the distance did not begin suddenly. Mistake. Mistake means something done wrong. Example, it did not start with one big mistake. Matter. Matter means to be important. Example, she did not know how much it mattered. Quietly. Quietly means without noise or attention. Example, some choices speak quietly. Echo. Echo means to stay and return again. Example, the moment echoed in her mind. Return. Return means to come back. Example, she did not know if Paul would return. Step back. Step back means to stop or move away. Example, she could have stepped back. Nice work. You've just finished a B1 level story. If this story helped you practice English, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. New stories, natural English, and step-by-step progress. Thank you for learning with English Stories. Listen and learn. See you in the next story.